Today we make for you a classic summer sausage. We'll be using venison. This is a great way to take any protein, really, any red meat protein, and turn it into what's known as summer sausage. In the old days, that was a fermented product that was made, and when it was fermented, you could carry it around in the summer with no refrigeration, and that's why it's called summer sausage. It's got a beautiful tang to it. We can add things like jalapeno, cheese, really anything you want. But we're gonna start with 20 pounds of venison. We're gonna add 5 pounds of our pork fat trimmings so we get a nice bit of moisture, flavor, and fat in that product. Summer sausage just has some unique processing steps that are required. Using our ingredients, encapsulated citric acid, you can't rupture the encapsulation. We'll explain all that through the video. It's a pretty easy process once you have it down pat, especially using the home but commercial grade equipment that we have in front of us today, the 1.5 pound meat made with meat grinder.
1.5 horse.
1.5 pounds will go through here.
They will, but that is a 1.5 horsepower grinder.
After we do a coarse grind, then a fine grind, we're gonna marry it to our mixer. That mixing step is important because that gives us a nice binding effect to our summer sausage and it won't crumble.
You get the protein extraction that way.
A beautiful color, texture, summer sausage, and this is something that you can do at home using the ingredients and steps that we're about to show you.
We also have Meat Your Maker's brand new 25 pound motorized stuffer, which we're excited to use. So let's just get started.
All right, so it's gonna start with our 20 pounds of lean trimmings. This is venison. And to that, I'm gonna add 2 bags, 2.5 pound bags of our pork fat trimmings, cubed up nicely for us, right off of our butcher table here at White Feather Meats from our pigs butchered right here in house. Because these were frozen, they're just kind of bunched together, so we'll break them apart, mix them in with our lean meat grindings. That way we get a nice even blend. And we will be grinding this twice, so it'll get all blended in there with that process. Now that we've got our meat ready to go, I want to go over the dry ingredients. Included in our old-fashioned summer sausage bundle, we're going to have 10 of our casings. We're going to have our base flavor here, which is our Bearded Butcher salt and pepper seasoning. Included with that are the individual components. In this case, we like minced garlic to be in our blend, so we have some dried minced garlic. We also like mustard seed, so we have just the right amount of dried mustard seed. Hickory smoke powder, we feel like that's a natural hickory smoke powder, gives it an awesome old-fashioned flavor. That's included in our dry ingredients. We also have our 2 components that are a 1-1 replacement for sodium nitrite. So instead of using Pink Cure, sodium nitrite, curing salt as you know it, we're using celery juice powder, cherry juice powder. These 2 components right here are gonna have the exact same results as sodium nitrite. They're antibacterial, they're gonna help us with color. We're gonna have a beautiful red colored smoked product when we're done. So these are a natural solution to using sodium nitrite. We're going to use those. We're also going to use encapsulated citric acid. That's citric acid encapsulated so that it will give it that beautiful tang flavor. It will also lower the pH. Now we won't be measuring pH, but commercially between 4.5 and 5.2 pH gives you shelf stability. So we're not guaranteeing shelf stability, but we are guaranteeing the familiar tang. So these ingredients are important to go in certain order. We'll go over that in a moment. And then finally, when we're done grinding our dry ingredients in, we're gonna mix into this a portion of cheese in half of it and some jalapeno powder and flakes so that we have half plain old-fashioned summer sausage and half jalapeno and cheddar summer sausage. All right, I'm gonna start by going with our base salt and pepper seasoning. This can just get dumped right on top of our mixture. The entire contents of that bag, I'm gonna add our hickory smoke powder. Now these are all specifically for flavoring, and we don't need these to actually show up in the end product, so they can get ground up, which is what we like to do, is put all the dry ingredients in that can be ground, so that way they get fully blended in with the product. At this point, I've got my salt and pepper base seasoning, I've got my hickory smoke powder, I've got my dried minced garlic, and then finally I'm going to add to this my celery juice powder along with my cherry juice powder. Now, if you do not want to do celery juice and cherry juice, you certainly can just use the sodium nitrite. We sell the kits with the option. The celery juice and cherry juice are quite a bit more expensive, so you can always choose the option of using the sodium nitrite. These two components are going to get saved to after we're done grinding. That's the mustard seed, because we want that to remain whole, and the encapsulated citric acid. So these two components, we set them aside until we're done grinding. So let's just hand blend these beautiful, clean, chemical-free ingredients in. That smell is amazing. Starts to make your mouth water at this point. Oh man, that smells so good. You guys getting hungry?
Really comes through.
Yeah, it just smells like Thanksgiving to me. Okay, so once this is all nicely hand blended, we've picked up all of our dry ingredients, coated everything. It's still super cold. We can just get to grinding.
So before Scott starts grinding, something that we do want to do is we want to get our mahogany summer sausage casings out. These are 2.5 inch in diameter with our Bearded Butcher logo on them. But what we want to do is we want to soak these. I have some lukewarm water here, and so we want to soak them for 10 to 15 minutes prior to stuffing. So while Scott's grinding, those are going to soak, and then by the time he's done and we mix, they'll be ready to use.
Okay, so I'm going to start by going through the coarse grinder, the coarse plate first. 10 millimeter coarse plate. We'll give it a single grind through. We're going to change our plate then into the 4.5 millimeter, like 3/16, 1/8 inch plate. So let's just get started with our first grind. I'm just dropping these through here in no particular order. Some fat, some of the lean meat. Because we're grinding this twice, we'll be able to grind this through again. It'll be fully blended, but basic rule of thumb is if it fits through this hole in the top of the grinder, she'll grind. And I'm not even using the plunger, I'm just dropping it through here.
Oh, that's just like stepping into Grandpa's smokehouse on the farm.
You just mentioned that you're going to the cabin this weekend.
Oh, we're taking some of this with us for sure.
So we're done coarse grinding. Now we just change our grinder plate over to the 4.5 mil and grind it through one more time. The reason that we're not using Made with Meat's dual grinder system is that in order to hook up to our mixer, we're using the 1.5 horse Made with Meat grinder, and this is the only grinder that marries up to our mixer. So it's not a big deal. Changeover is a pretty simple process. You just Change that plate out. No tools required. Tighten that back up, and we're ready to go. All right, just finishing up our final grind. After this, we're gonna turn to the mixing step. So we can set this aside for a moment. And remove the head from this grinder. This is our 50-pound mixer. This can be used by hand if you don't have the 1.5 horse grinder, but sure makes life a lot easier if you can do it automatically, especially for what we're about to do. You might have to turn your paddles a little bit to get that spline to match up. Once that matches up, you just tighten this, get everything married together. We can go ahead and put our entire 25-pound batch into this mixer, and we're gonna add water, and we're gonna mix it specifically for a total of 8 minutes. We're gonna go 1 minute in one direction, reverse that for a minute till we get to our last full minute. We'll add our encapsulated citric acid and our whole mustard seed at that point. So we're gonna start mixing to get some protein extraction out of it. Now that we have our meat mixture in there, we're gonna add 32 ounces of cold water. So we have two 16-ounce water bottles here. We go 1 minute forward and then alternating 1 minute reverse and back and forth until we reach a total of 7 minutes. And then for the last minute, we'll add our encapsulated citric acid and our mustard seed. Okay, final minute has arrived, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in our whole mustard seeds along with our encapsulated citric acid, and we'll turn this for our last minute. I'm gonna put about half in, turn it over, and then put the other half in. The reason why we wait to put the encapsulated citric acid in is we don't want the encapsulation to be harmed or burst. And you can't do this before grinding, because grinding will definitely do that. So that's why it's important that we just add it in the last minute of this mixing step. We're just gonna tip this forward and flop this out of here. All right, I'll go ahead and unplug. All right, you're clear.
Boy, look at the tackiness on that. Good way to tell is when you put some meat in your hand, you take your fingers, and when it sticks to your fingers, you know you have a nice tackiness.
I'm gonna split this into take 12.5 pounds out, so that way we can do some of this with our jalapenos and our cheddar cheese. So I'm gonna split our components here for the jalapeno and cheddar, because these are formulated for 25 pounds, and we're just doing half of the batch with cheddar cheese and half of it with half cheddar and jalapeno. This is a twin pack. You want the powder for flavor, and you want the flakes for texture and appearance. So we sell it as a twin pack. You mix those two components together. So in this case, we're gonna do ½ ounce of the powder, 1.5 ounces of the flakes.
Show you a little trick I like to do, Scott.
Yeah.
Go ahead and dump that right in there.
Right on.
It's a little trick I like to do to help evenly disperse your jalapeno powder and flakes in your product, is if you dump it in with your cheese and then give this a nice little shake, and you can see how well that's evenly coated around your cheese. Now you can take this and dump this into your mix, and it's just a lot better distributed throughout your product.
We'll set this aside for our plain, go ahead and dump her in there and I'll give these a mix. Yeah, we like to just hand mix the cheese and the jalapeno powder in there. Get that incorporated, fold it in there like you're kneading bread. Meat and spices have gone together for centuries, and for several decades, the Bearded Butchers have been formulating spices in their butcher shop, and that's where we came up with our many different recipes that are specially formulated with no added chemical ingredients. They're all natural. They're perfectly paired with not only meat, but other types of food items that you know and love. You can find us not only online at beardedbutchers.com, but popping up in thousands of retailers all across the United States and even internationally.
Now for the big dog. Meet Your Maker 25-pound capacity stuffer. We're gonna give this one a whirl.
So we're super excited because we've long awaited an electronic version, and not only electronic but larger. We've gone from 15-pound capacity to 25-pound capacity, made with meat. This motor marries up to the side of this. However, you can use, where's my crank? You can use a hand crank if you don't want to use the motor. So you have both options, which is pretty amazing. Comes with 4 different size stuffing horns and a foot pedal. So there's the crank. You can take the motor off and you can use a hand crank in place of the motor. But today we're going to go with the motorized version. Okay, so we're going to start with our 12.5 pounds of plain, old-fashioned summer sausage mixture.
So a really nice feature that we're already noticing is the fact that you don't have to use C-clamps to C-clamp this to the table, since you're not cranking it. So that's super nice. Just set it on the table. It's going to be nice and sturdy. So one thing we do want to do is we want to reach down inside here and hit this airlock as we go, because that's going to release the air out of this cylinder. When you buy our casings on our website, we give you enough casings to do 25 pounds, but we also give you enough if you add cheese or other ingredients to your product, that you'll have enough and you won't run out of casing. So we say 25 pounds, but actually there's enough there to run about 30 pounds. So we're just going to get started by taking our pre-soaked mahogany summer sausage casing, put it on our stuffing horn, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of our supplied twisty ties, and I'm going to put a twisty tie on the end of each one to keep the product in there. Just hit my foot pedal. I can hear the stuffer making a little resistance. You can see that product's coming into the casing. You want to keep these nice and tight, and you want to keep your hand right near the end of this horn. And I like to move these casings around a little bit as you go, because you can get, make sure that you get this product distributed nicely inside that tube. I typically get down to the end, give yourself about 2.5 inches or so where you can still get your hand on it, and then at that point you just want to give it a twist. So you want to twist it up like this, and then just take your twisty ties and just twisty tie the end of this shut. So there we have the very first tube of our plain summer sausage, and these casings hold right around 3 pounds of product each. So we're just going to keep going. Time for the jalapeno and cheddar. This just happens to be my absolute favorite summer sausage. So something that you will notice I like to do when I get down here towards the end is I stop and I reach up and I run the plunger up just a hair, because what that does is that takes the pressure off and you won't continue to run product out of your horn. So just run your plunger up just a little bit. So we're down to the last tube, and something that I want to do is I want to clean out as much of this as possible and then just stuff it inside my last tube here by hand. So I don't want any of this to go to waste. So the way you have to do that is just, it can be a little bit time consuming, but just drop little blobs in, just a little bit at a time until I got the rest of this used up.
You will find that you have a couple extra casings left over for a 25-pound batch. This is for two reasons. One, perhaps you break a casing, something along those lines, or you put so much added product in it in the form of cheese, or some people like to do fruits or even nuts. You are going to add volume. You might need those extra casings. If you don't use them, you can just dry them back out, put them in a Ziploc bag. A freezer is a great place to store these, but they can be dried out and reused later. All the tubes are stuffed, and you can see we did mark the ends of these. So we made out some tags and just marked them plain in jalapeno and cheddar. That way we don't get them mixed up throughout the cooking process. But next step with these is we're gonna put them on the Yoder smoker, and we're gonna stair step the temps. So follow along as we cook this summer sausage to perfection. Time to head to the grill, smoker. I've got 4 tubes, jalapeno and cheddar. Scott's got 4 tubes of plain. We're headed to the Yoder.
Boy, beautiful day to be smoking some summer sausage.
Smoking these meat.
Smoking this meat. Got the Yoder all fired up, set at 165 degrees.
So we're gonna do 165, 2 hours, bump it up to 185, couple hours, and then bump it up to 205 for the last cook. Should take us a total of anywhere between 4 and 6 hours on these. We've got dual probes on this grill, so we're able to set this up with temperatures being recorded in 2 different locations, and as a result, we'll be able to move stuff around if we see it's cooking a little differently.
Gonna get our tank filled up with our very own premium white oak wood pellet, brought to you by Stoked Barbecue Pellets. This is our own branded blend. We love it. We're just gonna get her filled up.
Because I have 2 temperature probes, I'm going to probe this bottom stack, and then we'll do the top as well, so we can kind of keep an eye on things, move it around as needed if we get a little different temperature, cook time, top or bottom. Sweet blue smoke washing over those, and now we just step back and let them cook.
Here's my Fireboard app. I've been periodically checking in on the summer sausage. So right now our pit temp's 171, set point of 165, and these probes, probe 1 and probe 2, have been running neck and neck within just a couple of degrees on that top and that bottom shelf. But we're 2 hours in, so now we want to stair step this to 185 degrees. So we're gonna stair step this to 185 degrees. And we're gonna push our button, set the temp, let her go for another 2 hours. So we stair step this grill to 185 degrees, and we're nearly 3 hours in. But what we're noticing is we have about a 5-degree difference from each probe. So probe 1 and probe 2. The hotter being the tubes that are on the bottom. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch these. Bottom tubes are going top rack is going to the bottom. So all we're gonna do is simply switch these around, and I'm just going to leave the probe right in them, and all we're doing is swapping our tubes, and then we feel like our probes will run more consistent in temperature. So check back in a little bit. 4 hours in, ready for our 3rd stair step in temperature, which is we're going to take it to 205. We are at a core temp of 140 and 143, so we're running pretty darn close. So I'm just gonna run this up to 205, hit set. Now we're gonna take these to an internal temp of 155. We're thinking it probably will be in about an hour, which give us a total of a 5-hour smoke. And then we're gonna get these in an ice bath and get them chilled. So stay tuned.
All right, we're between 155, 160 on our beautiful smoked summer sausages, all plain, jalapeno and cheddar. Time to get them in the ice bath. That's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop them in an ice bath. This is going to kind of halt the cooking process. We want to bring the temperature down to about half of what it is now, so about 75 to 80 degrees. And at that point, we can transfer them to our cooler refrigerator overnight.
Yeah, so we're gonna let these sit in the cooler overnight, and then tomorrow we're gonna slice them up and give them a sample.
Just really the only unfortunate part about this is you can't try it as soon as you get done. You gotta put it to bed.
You could, but it's never as good unless it's been chilled.
It's worth waiting.
There it is. Let's head to the cooler. It's the next day. Beautiful tubes of summer sausage. That one's a jalapeno and cheddar. That one's the plain. Only thing left to do, Scott, is cut these open and give them a sample. Let's try the plain first.
That looks amazing. Mustard seeds.
What do you think?
Nice particle definition, beautiful cherry red color.
That looks amazing. All right, Scott. Slice for you. Slice for me. Do you know who the third one's for?
Hopefully, Spencer.
Yes, please.
Yeah, to be clear, these casings are
Oh man.
non-edible.
Do I get the first bite?
You get the first bite, Spencer. Yeah, so you don't want to eat these casings. Typically what we do is we peel these off before we slice it, but we wanted to leave the casing on for when we package it. So held together real nice.
I just love it when a plan comes together. Oh, beautiful texture, that hickory smoke flavor, the meat's not overshadowed, get a little bit of the mustard seed in there, and then it finishes with a nice tang. Classic summer sausage.
I personally love
Very
that.
delicious.
I love that mustard seed in there because you get a little pop and then you just get that texture.
And that's an optional component if you don't want to put it in.
Yeah, just leave it
Just
out.
leave it out, but I think it adds great.
What do you think, Spencer?
Oh, it was so
dimension.
good.
He's trying to
I already,
chew.
I already finished my whole piece.
You're done?
I'm done.
Man.
Oh,
Down the hatch.
that's I can't imagine the jalapeno cheddar, how much that's gonna step it up.
You know, we're heading to the cabin this weekend to go turkey hunting.
I know what we're snacking on.
Sitting at hunting camp with some of that, some crackers and some mustard. So that was the plain. Now it's time for the jalapeno and cheddar. Ready? Mm-hmm. Wow. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. Spencer, are you a fan of jalapenos?
I love jalapenos.
All right, you're gonna get a slice of this one too. Boy, look at that.
You know, you've never been a skimpy slice guy, have you?
I'm not a skimpy slice
That's
guy.
a summer sausage steak.
Yeah, I try not to do anything half. Dad always
Can
taught us.
appreciate
If
that.
you're gonna do it, do 110%.
Oh man, thank
Look at
you.
the amount of cheese in that one. That looks so divine.
What do you think?
Oh man, the plain was good. This one is next level.
Oh. Creaminess of that
You
cheese.
aren't kidding, yeah. You get the jalapeno flavor with a little bit of a bite behind it, but then that creaminess of the cheese comes in and just smooths everything out. Then you get all the
And the
summer
tang-
sausage tang right in there.
The tang of the encapsulated citric acid.
Oh, that's
That's
a
amazing.
wonderful product.
Let's look at the texture of that. Incredible. Jalapeno and cheddar.
That's
My
amazing.
personal favorite.
I'm super proud.
Good job.
Same to you. So,
25 pounds.
and that's high temp cheese, which just means it's formulated not to melt at the temperatures that we cooked it at. So it remains a nice particulate. Gives you a nice bite.
25 pounds, 12 and a half of each kind. Just remember, make the initial investment, get the meat processing equipment made with meat. You too can do what we did. You can duplicate this. We did it in Yoder Smoker, which we absolutely love that unit. You know, you can use, whether it's a vertical smoker, you can use an offset, you can use your commercial. Whatever type of smoker you have, you can even, some people will even do these in their oven since it does have that hickory smoke added to it. It's harder to accomplish this in your oven, but it can be done. So we get to enjoy summer sausage with our families and friends, and you could do the same. So
That's right. And what we recommend at this point is you leave the casing on, but we cut this up usually in about 4-inch chubs. We recommend vacuum sealing it. Hopefully you have that option, and then freezing it for long-term storage. That's the best way to preserve it kind of in its current state. You pull it out, peel the casing off, slice it as needed. You give it out to family and friends. Makes a great gift. Personally, we're going to bust out the big guns and use our roll stock machine just to pack this up quick. But yeah, that's just vacuum sealing is all it is.
I do want to make one point about vacuum sealing. If this is vacuum sealed, you can keep this in your refrigerator up to 3 to 4 weeks. Other than that,
Easily.
just keep it frozen.
Yep.
So that's what we tell people. Freeze it, pull it out, put it in your fridge 3 to 4 weeks. But it probably won't last that long because you're going to eat it up within a couple of days, I guarantee it. So next step, we got to run these through the roll stock. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I know we did. Did you?
The product is phenomenal. So,
I've got
and
one-
the process wasn't that difficult.
Not that
With
hard
the
at all.
equipment, the recipe, you too can do it at home.
Easily, you know, you start this process at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, you can probably have it wrapped up by 1, 2 in the afternoon, get some friends together, make some summer sausage. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, see ya.